Okay. Actually, you know what? We're going to open the Chumash in a minute because we have to finish the last daf. We're on Nun Tes on the Bais in the bottom. When we get to the Mishnah, we're going to use the Chumash.
So
we're on Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef Amar Rabbi Yochanan. It's 59b. And I can't tell you if it's the last or the second to last. Yeah, that looks like it. No. Go back one. Yeah, right there. In between it, yeah. Does it say Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef Amar Rabbi Yochanan? Okay. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Nosan mashu shemen al gabi kazayas mincha pasel. Certain menachos are not allowed to have oil. So let's say someone does put oil on it. Let's say he doesn't put on a shear, he just puts on a mashu. So he says it's pasel. My time, what's the reason? La yasim. It's very interesting. The pasuk says that lo yasim ala shemen v'lo yitin ala levayna. There's a different verb for putting on oil than there is for the levayna. So when it comes to the oil, it says layasim. The Gemara understands that layasim means even the smallest amount. Layitin means needs a shear, but layasim means even the smallest amount. Sima kalduhu, even the smallest amount. But you said that it was only on the kazayas of the mincha. You put a drop of oil, and it was a type of mincha that should not have oil, a sin offering. Aleha, liyasim aleha, it says. Ad ikka shiura. Aleha means on it. It means it needs to be something substantial. Okay. There's another girsa here, but it doesn't matter. So because aleha means that you need a kazayas of the mincha. Liyasim means even a drop of oil. So that would make it possible.
So it's a steer?
No, it's not a steer. We're talking about oil and flour. How much oil makes how much flour possible? So the amount of oil is just a drop, and how much flour needs to be there means it needs at least a kazayas. So the shear is the shear of oil and the shear of flour, two different things. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Nasan kazayas levayna al gabi mashu mincha, it's possible. We just adjusted this, but it's very interesting because we switched something here. So I understand, nasan kazayas levayna. I need a kazayas of levayna to make it possible. Why? Because it says layitim, as we're going to see. But how much of the mincha, how much flour? Before we said a kazayas aleha, look at this. My time, what's the reason? Layitim ksiv, ade kanasina. You need a shear to be able to give on it, to place on it. What about it's only a mashuhu of the flour? You said aleha means something substantial. Gemara says aleha haviribi acharibi. You already said aleha by the shemen. Why are you saying aleha again? Anit. Aleha means anit. The preposition anit, right? So why you have to say again on it? You're including, after including, and whenever you do that, you're subtracting. Which means that the first aleha tells me that it needs to be, when it comes to the oil, I need to have a kazayas. The second aleha is diminishing, and it's telling me that even a mashu is also going to passel it. So now I need a kazayas of levayna on a mashu of a mincha.
So the two things here. The first thing, which is the oil, right? Mashu shemen, right?
Right.
And the second thing is shiur. I'm sorry, is yasim, right?
Well, how do I know a mashu shemen? Because it says la yasim.
Right, because it says right. That's how we.
That
know
would make
lo yasim.
the mincha pasel that should not.
The aleha.
The aleha is the flour on it.
Uh-huh.
Don't put on it oil. So on that, don't put oil on it. So the oil is a mashu, and on it is a kazayas.
Okay.
But then when it says don't put levayna on it, the Levina is a Kazayas and the Anit is a Masho. How do you get Anit to switch? So he says, because Ribe Acha Ribe. If you try to include more than is necessary, so what you're really doing is diminishing. The Ikadamri, there are those that say that the first section of this was not so clear. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef, Bai Rabbi Yochanan. It wasn't a statement from Rabbi Yochanan. It was a Bai Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan asked, Nasan Mashu Shemen al Gabi Kazayas Mincha. If you put a drop of oil on a Kazayas Mincha Mao, are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Going to move down? Mi Be'inan Sima Kinesina. Do I say that I need the same amount of Sima, La Yasim, as La Yitin? And La Yitin was a Kazayas by Levina. So by the Shemen I also needed Kazayas. Eily. Or maybe not. Maybe Sima is different than the Sina. So Teku. He leaves it as a question. Okay. Nasan Shemen al Shirah. If you put oil on what's left over from the after the kaimets. That's what the Mishnah was talking about. So there's a prohibition on that as well. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a brisa, an important brisa. It's very interesting. We have three interpretations for the following line. I have Rashi, Tosfos, and Rabbeinu Tam. So it says, "Layitin aleh shemen." I'm sorry. Thank you. Layasim aleh shemen. You shall not place on it oil. Again, we're talking about the karban oil v'yored. This is a mincha where someone does an aveira, where he can't afford the regular chatas, so he's going to bring. Is it a regular chatas or an asham? Maybe it's an asham, and so therefore he's going to bring the either first it's a bird, and then it's if he can't afford that, then he brings the mincha. It's called the mincha schayte. There's three averos that it comes from. I think entering in the Bais Hamikdash, swearing falsely. It's the asham. There's swearing falsely, and then there's something else. So it's supposed to be without oil and without levina. So when it says liyasim la shemen v'layitain, what's going on over there? Liyasim v'layitain. Skip the la shemen. Liyasim v'layitain. You shall not place oil. You shall not place frankincense. Yachal b'shnei kayanim. Maybe it's talking about two kayanim. One shouldn't do the oil. The other one shouldn't do the frankincense. Talmud loymar aleha begufa shel mincha kas medaber. It's talking about the mincha. V'loy b'kayin. It's not talking about two separate kayanim. Okay, 1 second. Rashi learns over here. Maybe I could have thought that if one kayan does both prohibitions, he would only incur one set of lashes because he pasaled the carbon. So he pasaled it once, he pasaled it again, but sum total is he pasaled it, so he only gets one lashes. But if one person put the frankincense and another person put the oil, so then each one would get lashes.
Why would the second one get if it's already a pasul mikvah?
Because he did the next prohibition.
There's nothing
It was a pasul
There's no
mikvah.
prohibition against putting it on a pasul thing.
Okay, I hear. So,
Counting,
So-
talking about dollars and cents.
I hear you. It's correct. It's a valid question. Taisa's question was slightly different. His question is, why should I think that one kayan should not get both? He did two prohibitions. Did two prohibitions. Should we get two cheers from the
Okay.
from the shul?
The answer to that could be that's Gzer Sakosu.
Okay.
Okay, so listen to Taisa's.
It's not illogical necessarily
Right.
illogical.
Could be anything.
Taisa says that what the Gemara is asking is maybe doesn't when it says shtei kayanim, it doesn't really mean two kayanim. Maybe what it means is two separate menachos. Follow? Two separate karbanos. That maybe if I messed up by putting on shemen, and the other one I messed up by putting on levina, maybe only then I'm chayev. No, it comes to teach me that I'm chayev even on one begufa shel mincha. Okay, that you chayev even on one carbon, both prohibitions. Rabbi Menachem has the same idea, except his conclusion is entirely the opposite. Rabbi Menachem says that what the Gemara is saying here is that maybe I'm talking about two separate karbanos. And I'm only chayev.
Two separate kayanim.
Two separate kayanim means two separate karbanos, because we would use a different kayan per mincha, b'reipam, atras melech. So the Gemara says, begufa shel mincha, that once it's puzzle, then you don't violate it. So that's what it's talking about. It's like a different conclusion, sort of. Okay. Let's go further. Rashi learned that maybe we're talking about if one kayan puts on oil and frankincense on the mincha, maybe it should only be chayiv one and not two. Two kayanim would be chayiv two, but one kayan would only be chayiv one if he does both. So it comes to teach me that no, he's chayiv two. What the way Rabbi Menachem was learning that once the oil's there, then it's not considered begufa shel mincha. You already put oil on. You're not putting it on the mincha anymore. You begufa shel mincha. You're putting the frankincense on the oil. That's not the prohibition. That's how Rabbi Menachem learns, and therefore the conclusion is the opposite. Okay. Yachal layitin keli al gabi keli. This was the Mishnah. The Mishnah says maybe I can't even put a vessel of oil, a flask of oil, on top of the mincha. No, it needs to be on the actual mincha where it would be a prohibition, but not if it's in a vessel. Okay, we're going to do the Mishnah. The Mishnah is going to talk about bringing the mincha close to the mizbeach. So, just so we'll have some clarity here. Open the Chumash, Vayikra Perek Bais, chapter 2. You have a Chumash. It will be clear here. You use this that way. Chaim, if you want to follow here, just so we can go through the chapter quickly. It says, "B'nefesh ki sakrav kav mincha l'Hashem soilas." If he brings from flour, okay. So it says he pours on it oil, he puts on it frankincense. He brings it to Aaron the Kohanim, he does kmitza from the flour and the oil over all the frankincense, and he offers it as a remembrance on the altar. On the altar, it's a fire, sweet smell for Hashem. The remnants are eaten by Aaron and his sons. Okay, you see Pasuk Dalet? It says if he brings a carbon mincha that's baked in the oven, he has two options. He could bring chalis matzos, or he could bring rikiki matzos, chalas or wafer. Verse 5, if he brings it on a flat pan, he divides it up because it's crunchier. If it's marcheshes, if it's on a deep pan where it soaks in the oil. So, okay, here in Pasuk Ches, it says, "V'hevesa es mincha." You will bring the mincha asher yeyasem Eily that was made from these la Hashem to Hashem. V'ekriva lakayin v'yigisha lemizbeach. He'll bring it close to the altar. That's what's happening here in this Mishnah, that the mincha needs to be brought close to the altar, and then the kayin does kmitza, etc., etc. All minchas that are pasuk Yud Aleph, no yeast and honey, except for that rachis, need salt. Pasuk Yud Daled says the carbon omer. In takrav minchas bikurim, you put on it oil, you put on it frankincense, and you offer it up, the kmitza askarasa. Okay, let's take a look now in the Mishnah. Yish tunas agasha vein tunas tenufa. There are certain menachos that require that they're brought close to the mizbeach, but they're not required to be waved. Some menachos have to be waved like a lulav. They do to the sides and up and down. Hagasha utenufa. Some of them need both. Tenufa v'lei hagasha. Some need waving, but not being close to the mizbeach. And then the fourth option is v'lei tenufa v'lei hagasha. Not this and not that. Not waved and not being brought close.
Didn't you say that all of them have to be brought close?
No. We saw there was only one mincha here where it had the pasuk. That was the minchas marcheshes. But it says me Eily, which is assumed to be from all the ones that it said previously, which is the Soilet, Mafi Taner, which is 2, and which is Chales or Rikikim, and then the Machavas and the Marchesha. So that would be those 5.
So what do they do? They bring it to the Azara? It doesn't
No.
have to be. What does it mean if it doesn't have to?
It doesn't have to be brought close to the corner of the Mizbeach.
Oh.
It was a special service that the Kohen would have to bring it there. And then. Okay, let's see the list. Ve'ila tunas hagasha ve'in tunas tenufa. This list is a list of menachos that need to be brought close, but they don't need to be waved. Minchas hasoiles, the flower that we learned. We saw the pasuk. It doesn't say hagasha there, but it says at the end of it says hagasha, that it needs to be. The hamachavas is the flat pan, or marcheshes is the deep pan. Va'chalis rikikim, and also the loaves and the wafers. That's called the minchas mafi taner. It's baked in the oven. Okay. Minchas kayanim, minchas kayin mashiach. A kayin that brings a mincha, which is slightly different because it's burnt entirely. Kayin's mincha is not. By the way, Reb Shimon's opinion is that even though it's burnt, but you still do kamitza on it, and then you burn them both. Normally in mincha you do kamitza and you burn the kaimetz, and the rest is eaten. In minchas kayanim you burn the whole thing. He says, yeah, you burn the whole thing, but you do kamitza as well. That's his opinion. We'll see if it comes. Taisvus discusses that. Minchas kayin mashiach, the kayin gadol brings a carbon mincha every day. Minchas nachrem, if a guy offers a mincha. Minchas nashim, if a woman offers a mincha. Minchas chayte is the sin offering that we discussed, someone that can't afford. Okay, how many did we have here? 10. It's not the same 10, but it's 10. Yesterday we had 10 also. We'll see. Reb Papa's going to show up and tell us that. Reb Shimon says, Minchas kayin and Minchas kayin mashiach ein b'em agashel if shein b'em kmitza. Reb Shimon says that the Minchas kayin and the Minchas kayin mashiach, there's no hagasha. Why not? Because there's no kmitza. Taisvus asked, there's no kmitza. He holds that there is kmitza. He's the one that says that there's kmitza. We're going to see.
Well, if you have to burn them completely, you have to bring it to the mizbeach.
Well, you bring it up the ramp, but it's not. There was the other side of the mizbeach. It was, I think, the Maravis Dremus, the southwestern side that you would avoid if you would go up the ramp, not going. That's the closer side to the.
So you could burn it to the mizbeach without getting closer to
without bringing it to the corner. I think that's the pshat. Okay. There's no kmitza, there's no agasha. That's what Reb Shimon says. What the explanation here is that the kmitza is not really what he means to say. He means to say that it's eaten. Okay. Amar of Papa, Kol Hechad Tanan, Eser Tanan. Wherever you have a list of menachos, there's 10. Maika Mashimlan, what are you coming to teach me? La Fukim with Reb Shimon. Coming to exclude Reb Shimon, Damer Mechza Chalas and Mechza Rekik and Yavi, Kamashimlan Dalai. It's coming to teach me not like Reb Shimon, because then you would have 11. Let's just count it out. Seiles, Machavas, Marcheshes, Chales, Rekikin, Minchas Kayinim, Minchas Kayin Mashiach, Minchas Nachem, Minchas Nashim, Minchas Chayte is 10. We would have had, according to Reb Shimon, Chales Urikikin as together, 5 and 5, and that we're not accepting. Minani Mili, where do we know this? The Tanur Rabbanan. We have a huge Bais here. It takes an entire page. We're going to go back and forth. If you have your Chumash open, Vehi Vesa, Pasuk Ches, Perik Beis Pasuk Ches, is the pasuk that we're going to be discussing. Ilu Nemar, if it would say Vehi Vesa Sheyasim El Hashem, V'kriva El HaKayen V'higisha. We skipped the words Esamin. If it would say that, then I would say Eily Shatan Agash El HaKayen Mitzvah. I would only think that what do you have to bring to Hashem? Just the kaimetz. Because it says La Hashem, and then it says V'higisha. Sorry, what do you need to bring close to the Mizbeach? Only the part that goes to Hashem. the kaimetz. Mincha minayin. How do you know they have to bring the whole bowl? So this could also be the pshat.
Right.
Talmud Loimar mincha. It says vehivesa mincha. You bring the mincha, not just the La Hashem part. Mincha schayte minayin. How do I know the sin offering? We didn't mention the sin offering in this list. Yeah. It wasn't in chapter 2. So how do I know that? So Talmud Loimar es mincha. It says es. Now I think the pshat is, and my teachers never told this to me, but I think the pshat in s. Why s? Besides that, it's an extra word, but also s could say with. It's an inclusive word, because in Hebrew, itach always means with, right? With him, with you, with. So the s is inclusive, or it couldn't. The way I was taught is just that it's an extra word. It's including. Okay. Either way, the Gemara asks a question now. So I know a minchas chayte, the sin offering, needs to be brought close to the mizbech from an extra word of es. The Gemara asks, the Bais asks, why do you need an extra word? Vidinhu. It's logical. I have a way of learning it out without an extra word. How would I learn it out? It says like this. Nemar hacha. It says over here, minchas chayva. An obligatory mincha. What's the obligatory mincha? Minchas chayte. He did a sin. He has to bring a korban mincha. He can't afford the sacrifice, so he brings the meal offering. V'nemar hacha minchas nedava. And it also says the minchas nedava.
Where's here? Where's this hacha? Which pasuk is?
What's going on over here? It says we have to change the gear. So the Tzayin Kadashim, he changes here. That's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
I just wanted to know what it meant.
What it's meant to say is Nemar Have. It says to bring.
Really working fine.
Instead of Hacha, switch it to Have, which means bring, like the Hevesa.
How can you tell that? Because there's nothing in the Gemara that tells you to check.
It's kind of a
Change it.
I have a little note.
Valid.
In my Gemara, there's a little note that sends me to the notes. It says, it has a bold Bais to tell me that it's not a chaf, it's a Bais. That would be a simple mistake. You see, there's two types of mistakes. Some mistakes that you can't catch because someone logically came in and edited it. It says, oh, that doesn't make sense. It makes more sense like this. Those mistakes get lost to history. No one ever rechecks them. Then there's mistakes that the guy didn't know Hebrew. He printed the Zetzer. He just put the fonts in. It looked like a Bais, looked like a Chav. Those mistakes you get caught over time. Right. Okay. So here it says the word Hacha. The word Hacha could really be Have. It says that you bring the Minchas Chayva. And it says that you bring the Minchas Nedava. It says both. You bring close, right? Ma Minchas Nedava Tuna Hagasha. Uses the same word. So just like by the donation offering, which were those 5 menachos, you have to bring it close to the Mizbeach. Af Minchas Chayva Tuna Hagasha. Also by the sin offering, sin meal offering, you have to bring it close. The Gemara says, 1 second, you can't compare. Mala Minchas Nedava Shkein Tuna Shemen Ulavayna. You're just going to make a comparison? There's no, you can't compare. My example when I teach this in class would be, if I say that this boy can go to have extra recess, all the other boys say, why not me, why not me? I say, 1 second, he finished his work. You're still in the middle of the stuff. What's the comparison? So that, but immediately the first thought is, 1 second, we all should be equal. And then you say, no, 1 second, there's some differences here. So we say they all need to be brought close. So 1 second, the Minchas Nedava has oil and it has frankincense. That's why it needs to be brought close. The Minchas Chayva, the sin offering, the Chayte, has no oil, no frankincense. What are you saying? It's the same thing. Minchas Saita Techiach. Are you comfortable?
It's the first time I had a minion.
Yeah, it's very good. Like the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya. Shchimta Shaya. the Tanya share by Montreal. Remember, what was the Rabbi Greenglass? He would make us wear our hats and jackets for the Tanya share. He would say, when I teach Tanya, or not when I teach, he says when people are learning Tanya, so all the Rebbeim are there. How could you be there without your hat and jacket? He would make us sit there with the hat and jacket. He sat there, it was like, okay, so the Gemara says, 1 second, okay, so you want to say that the oil and the frankincense are the determining factor that make you have to bring it close. And since the Menachos Daf doesn't have oil and frankincense, so you don't bring it close. Well, let me show you something. Menachos Daf, the Saita also brings a meal offering. Techiach, let that prove. Because the Saita offering also doesn't have oil and frankincense, but it is brought to the corner of the Mizbeach. So what's the determining factor here? I don't know, but one thing for sure, it's not the oil and the frankincense. So that's going to prove that there's a different determining factor that could possibly include the Minchas Chayte, the sin offering. The Gemara says, 1 second. Mala Minchas Chayte, whereas for the Minchas Chayte, she came to a Tnufa. The Saita offering needs to be waved up and down and back and forth. The Gemara says, well, so maybe that's the determining factor. It says, no, that can't be the determining factor because Minchas Nedava Techiach, the donation offering doesn't have the waving. So, what is the common factor that determines if it needs to be brought, if it needs Hagasha close to the Mizbeach? The Chazar Adin, and the logic revolves. The strength of this one is not like the strength of that one. The factor, the strength of this one is not like that one is not like this one. The common factor between them is Shava l'kmitza. You have to do kmitza on a donation mincha, and you have to do kmitza on a saita mincha. The Shava l'Agasha, and they both need to be brought close. So that will be the common factor is kmitza. I'll also bring in the sin offering, which also requires kmitza. And they all have a common factor of kmitza. So therefore I'll apply to it the rule of Hagasha. Now this is a problem, because if that's the case, then why did he need the word S? So the Gemara says, the common factor has a commonality that excludes the sin offering, because the common factor of a donation offering and a site offering is that they bring the same offering whether they're rich or poor. But by the sin offering, it's not brought if you're rich or poor. If you're rich, you bring an animal sacrifice. So therefore, you will not be able to learn the Menachos Daf that the needs Hagasha from those other two. Those are different. So Talmud Leima, the pasuk says Es HaMincha, the extra word Es. All of that was to teach me that a Menachos Daf, the sin offering, needs to be brought close to the Mizbeach from the word Es, and I wouldn't have known it logically. Okay, Reb Shimon says, Rashi points out right here that he's not arguing. Let me just make sure I'm saying that correctly. Yeah. This, at a certain point, they put the headings of the Rashis in bold to make it easier for you to find. But every once in a while, they leave one out, and then it's because all of them are in bold, and they forgot one, so that you can never find it. Okay, so here it's Reb Shimon and the Tanakama. In mine, they dropped the bold from it. Reb Shimon and the Tanakama are not arguing. They just, each one has a different drasha, but they agree to the halacha. The halachas here are going to be the same. Reb Shimon Aimer. Reb Shimon says vehevesa. We didn't discuss the word vehevesa earlier. We discussed. Oh, actually, we tried to when we did a comparison, but that didn't work out. We discussed Es HaMincha, the Mincha and Es. Reb Shimon says vehevesa l'Rabbis Mincha Aimer la'Agasha. Vehevesa when you shall bring close in chapter 2, verse 8. It says, Ve'ivesa mincha, you'll bring close the mincha. That word Ve'ivesa is coming to include that the Omer, which it says at the end of chapter 2, which was after it discusses this, in chapter 2, verse 14, in Yudalit, over there it says the Omer, that also needs Hagasha, even though it doesn't say it in verse 14. It only says it in 8. V'cheinu Omer, how will we have a comparison? Vehivesa. Why is Vehivesa including the Omer? So it says because the Omer uses the word Vehivesa. It says Vehivesa Omer. So that same word reminds me and alludes to the fact of Vehivesa over here. And that tells me that they need to both be brought close to the Mizbeach. It says Vehivesa Omer Reishis Ketzirchem Ala Kayin. You bring the Omer, the first of your offering, to the Kayin. Where is that verse? It's not verse 14. That's in towards the end of Vayikra and Chav Gimel. That's by the Emor, by the Shavuos, by the holidays over there. In the holidays, it says that you bring the Omer by Pesach. It says you bring the Omer. Okay. Then it says Vehikriva. Again, we're going back to Pasuk Ches. It says Vehikriva Sakayin, and the Kayin will bring it. What does the Vehikriva teach me? The Rabbi's Minchas Saita La'agasha, that the Saita offering needs to be brought close to the Mizbeach. V'cheinu Omer, and I'll show you that V'hikriva is alluding to the Saita, because it says V'hikriv V'yisal Mizbeach, he will bring her to the Mizbeach. It says V'hikriv. V'dinhu, V'hikriv V'yisal is it's the Mincha of the Saita. V'dinhu, the pasuk says that the kohen takes it from the woman's hands and he waves it in front of Hashem and he brings it to the Mizbeach. But the Gemara says that it's logical. Why do you need these psukim to teach it to me? We're going to go through the same problem. You quoted a pasuk. You say, why do you need the pasuk? Ma minchas chaytei. A sin offering, she'ina tuna tenufa, which doesn't require to be waved, but to una hagasha, but it needs to be brought close to the Mizbeach. Minchas saita, she'tu'una tenufa, the saita offering that needs to be waved. In adin she'tu'una hagasha.
Why? Why do you have to wave it near the Mizbeach? Could be waved in your place.
No, didn't you need to wave it near the Mizbeach?
They waved it in the Azara. No, the idea over here is like this: that how does the Kal V'chaima work? If I can lift up 10 pounds and I'm not so strong, so a strong guy for sure can lift up 10 pounds. So we're saying that a minchas saita